Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, Samsung Unpacked shows a lot of the bad within Samsung. We'll talk more about that in great detail. Tesla is caught faking battery range and then trying to hide it. Twitter has officially called itself X and did it in about the worst way you can possibly imagine. And a newly environmentally friendly electronics brings a new extreme to water damage. All that and more come today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed ready. This Eagle Eyes on Tech guy. I'm Eagle Falcon. I decided to actually just say it slowly for once. It might be the first time that half the people even heard half the words that are in it. Someone in chat said maybe you should change that splash screen. You know what the worst part is about frickin' the so for those who don't know, we actually have a video version of the podcast that we go ahead and record live at twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. We also are posting it to YouTube at youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Spotify, I think, now is taking our podcast as a video format, and it says anchor.fm/Eagle Eyes on Tech. You want to know why I haven't changed it? It's not out of laziness. It's not like it's all one picture and I gotta go into frickin' Photoshop, unrender things, do a smudge tooling thing. No. It's just a text line. It's not hard for me to go in there, just type in the real address. Here's the problem. You want what the real address is of the podcast? The actual profile page? It is Spodcasters. Spodcasters actually would be a better title, by the way, than what they put down. It's podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/Eagle Eyes on Tech. There is no way you're going to remember that. Though seriously, Spotify, dude, Spodcasters, look into it. That's what you should have called your thing, or you should have just kept it Anchor. The reason I keep it as anchor.fm/Eagle Eyes on Tech is, guess what? It's way shorter. The actual URL is going to barely fit into a tweet, or what is it called? A zeet? A yeet? A fail? What are the actual posts on the social platform formerly known as Twitter called now? I think they're just called failures. No, it's actually even lamer than that. I think if they called it failures, it would actually be an upgrade compared to the actual name it is. Let's first talk about Samsung Unpacked. Of course, we weren't able to post last week. Long story. Life just kept getting in the way, along with technical difficulties. And when those two get together, man, you just want to curl up in bed and just not think about anything anymore. Kind of like how you don't want to think about Elon Musk at all. But here we are. We do the tech news, so we have to. It's just the rules, because he just keeps... Elon is just like the gift that keeps on giving. I'm kind of now at that point of this. Like, he's already damaged the Twitter brand to the point where the Twitter brand is now gone. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter because it's a better brand than X. But just everything he does just shows that, holy cow, for a guy that insists on being so smart, he is an absolute idiot and a terrible businessman at that. Whew. Well, let's actually get into Samsung Unpacked. So Samsung Unpacked, for those who don't know somehow, it is an event where Samsung goes ahead and announces all the latest Samsung gadgets. This time around for Samsung Unpacked, because it is our kind of midterm of the Samsung cycle, they pretty much do 3 of these. They do one at the beginning of the year that shows off their flagship phone you actually want. they do one in the middle of the year that shows off their foldable phones that are really cool to look at, but then when you actually have them in your hands, you're like, ugh, this is weird. I don't know if I can get used to this. Can I get used to this? How they cost how much? And then you set it back down and slowly walk out of the store in which you observed the foldable phone in, and really hope that no damage came to it, and that there is no way you left fingerprints on the potentially damaged device. I exaggerate heavily on that, of course. This one, of course, is our mid. Oh, then there's one last one right before the end of the year, and there they usually show off their budget options. These are the FEs, or fan editions, also known as the ones that normal people can afford, but they still insist on not including features you actually want on them. If you can't tell from my saltiness, I have some opinions about Samsung, and we're going to go into great detail about them here, all right? So first things first, we had the brand new Galaxy Fold, I think it's what? Z Fold 5, yeah, Z Fold 5 now, and Z Flip 5. The Z Flip 5 is actually one you can afford. It has a bigger screen on the front. It has a unique shape to go around the camera. On the inside, it's pretty much exactly what you expect. It starts at $1,000. The Z Fold 5, it is literally, not figuratively, literally the exact same phone as the Fold 4, just with a more updated processor. It starts at $1,800. In addition, we have an updated version of the Galaxy Watch 6. I actually am a fan of this because they brought back a feature that they should have never gotten rid of in the first place, and that is the rotating bezel. So the first generation of the Galaxy Watches that had the round displays, they had a bezel that turned, and it would actually interact with the device as you turned it. This was genius, and it should have stayed. For whatever reason, when they switched to Google's Wear OS, the bezel vanished. And instead, it's just like, ooh, look, it's an edge-to-edge display. Ooh. Well, that's cool and all, but you know what I miss? Being able to flick the bezel to answer, or flick the bezel the other way to hang up. That was a killer feature. Well, that's back. And then finally, the Galaxy Tab S9. It's an AMOLED tablet, starts at $800 for a 13-inch version, and there's a $1,200 version. I'm sorry, there's a $12. Wait, okay. There's a Tab S9 that starts at $800. That is for a 12.4 inch. No, that's for an 11-inch. The 12.4 inch S9 Plus tablet begins at $1,000, and the enormous 14.6 inch Tab S9 Ultra costs $1,200. So that's what we got. We have two foldable phones. We have watches, and we have some enormous tablets starting at $800. Can someone explain to me what the benefit is of buying Samsung? I say this as someone who's actually in the Samsung ecosystem. I have right here a 23 Ultra. I have a Samsung watch. I have on my charger as a backup to my actual Polycom headset a set of the Samsung Jelly Beans. Here's some cold, hard truth. There is no reason to buy Samsung unless you feel like you are sticking it to Apple. That is the only reason at this point I feel there is to buying Samsung at this point. All right. The S23 Ultra, great camera. I could get the same results out of an iPhone or another flagship phone. I actually do regret this purchase, but I'm stuck with it now. There are better smartwatches out there, and this particular one I have here, it is comical how many times it is non-responsive, overheats on its charger, and in fact overheated to the point on its charger where it tried to dial out to emergency services. You want to talk about the frickin' Apple Watch dialing emergency services on a roller coaster? That's funny and a problem. What the heck is the thing doing overheating on the charger and dialing emergency services? Oh, thank God, it started a fire on its own. But hey, at least it called the fire department while I was in it. What a considerate fire starting watch it was. And then the earbuds. Oh, the earbuds. They're actually fine. Except for the part where they keep falling out. Wireless earbuds in general are just like a huge problem just because everyone's ear is different. You need to go ahead and size everything correctly. It's such a hot mess. And then, of course, these folding phones. All right. We have a very easy to damage display in the case of the Flip and the Fold. But let's ignore that for a moment. Let's pretend for a minute you actually are the most delicate flower with your electronic devices, okay? I doubt you are, but let's pretend you are for a minute, okay? We can pretend. There have been some flaws found with these foldable devices of various layers of the internal screen delaminating over the course of years. Let's be perfectly honest. My S23, the only time it is going to break is either A, the battery dying and it has to be replaced, or B, damage. On these foldables, not only do you have the battery that is going to eventually die, but you've also now got these screens that are also eventually going to die, and you're paying a premium for this. In addition, you want to talk about Apple being lazy with innovation. Samsung just released the same folding phone for the third year in a row. And the worst part is, they're being outshined by one of the leakiest tech companies in the world. Google has a better designed folding phone than Samsung. Samsung, in all of its knowledge and durability, could have just absolutely quashed the Nexus, or what do they call it? The Pixel Fold? Not the Nexus Fold. The Nexus name is dead. But no, we have to go with this ultra narrow front screen that is jarring to use. So you have this perfect square in the middle. Nobody cares about that. Everyone who wants to get one of these phones cares about one thing and one thing only: big screens. So if you want the one that's going to be too much of a hassle to open up, you might as well make that also a big screen, which would then make the big screen inside, guess what, even bigger. And the watch, oh great. The great, amazing key feature they had before has finally come back. For crying out loud. What are you, the MacBook Pro? We brought back ports. This is getting to the point where if you're going to go ahead and get an Android phone, for the love of God, don't get a Samsung. That is the point we're getting to now, because Samsung is getting as fat and complacent as Apple. But here's the thing, Samsung doesn't have the software ecosystem to match Apple. That is where Samsung is at. All Samsung is now is a budget Apple experience where you have no headphone jack, you have no expandable storage, you have no access to your own components, you have a locked-in ecosystem because, you know, you're only able to use this with that and the other thing. You're getting closer and closer to all this nonsense. And of course, the repair side of things, Samsung is getting pretty much just as bad, if not worse in some cases, than Apple. Samsung worse than Apple in the case of repair? Oh, how about the fact that their batteries are still glued in place? Apple at least goes ahead and uses glue strips. When you actually get in, you just pull a tab and the glue comes out with it. With Samsung, nope. You gotta go in, use a solvent to dissolve enough of the glue for you to go in with a razor blade, cut away the glue, and hope you don't go ahead and cut the actual battery, puncture that, and start a fire. Great design, right? And you know, I feel obligated to keep pointing this out until Samsung starts to deviate from this path, because this is getting infuriating. Samsung used to be the company to go to if you didn't want Apple's BS, and now they're as bad as them. I'm sick of it. And the last thing I want to do is say, oh, hey, let's, the last thing I want to do is say, let's go to frickin' Xiaomi or Huawei or some other super sketchy brand that, you know, every single time we hear more about these Chinese companies' inner workings, it kind of makes us go, yikes. I really do wish that my phone didn't break. I really do wish I didn't get myself locked in to this S23, because quite frankly, I would have been better off with an iPhone over this thing, because it's the same locked in experience without the software glitches and the sluggishness and the quirkiness and the weirdness that we here in Android put up with, simply because, hey, it's not Apple and we get a lot more control. You get no control and you get the glitches. Cool. And the customer service of Apple too, while we're at it. There, Samsung rant over. Do you think by the next event my attitude will change about Samsung? Do you think there's any chance of that happening? No. There's no way. I don't think anything's going to change over at Samsung, not until you get a good number of tech influencers kind of bringing up this issue. I know Linus has a couple of times. MKBHD has like once or twice. But this needs to be like a widespread sort of thing. But even then, I don't know. I just don't think they care. Let's talk about Apple instead. Apple has made a bold decision. They have decided to release the Apple Vision Pro Developer Kit using a device that already reeked of being a developer kit. So, my logic for the Vision Pro, this was the $3,500 Apple VR headset, and which, by the way, holy cow, that is still an eye-watering amount of money. But my coping method at the time for trying to figure out how Apple can justify this price tag on a VR headset was very simple. Well, it must be a dev kit. There's no way. Of course, they want to go ahead and make sure there's an operating system and there's plenty of apps for this sort of thing before they launch the real one. This is WWDC. We're trying to go ahead and show everyone that, we have this idea, and developers, you want to go ahead and get in on this early thing. Here's your investment in $3,500 for your dev kit. Go nuts. That was my theory. That theory is now bunk. Because the information regarding the Vision Pro developer kit is going out, and there's a metric ton of disclaimers, NDAs, and whatnot if you go ahead and sign up for the developer kit. Someone's going to talk about it. Someone's going to leak the info out. But now we need to actually settle in with a reality. And it's a reality that everyone else has been talking about long ago, for several months now. Holy cow, Apple really does want you to pay $3,500 for a VR headset. What? What? Am I the only one that thinks that's insane? I mean, obviously not. Everyone else has been talking about it, and it's like, no, it's a dev kit. It's a dev kit. Now I've got to come to that realization. God, Apple is just... Who is their target market? Really? It can't be just the 1%. There's only 1% of them. But holy cow. We're talking $8,000 flipping desktop towers for professionals that, as far as we can tell, have no support for professionals and no support for actual uptime that professionals want, being comically underpowered compared to their competition. We have a $3,000 miniature version of it with pretty much about the same amount of expandability, but also being outdone by others in its weight class, constantly trying to go ahead and claim that they have the most powerful computers on the planet, when every graph on the planet shows they in fact do not. They do have the best performance per watt. That should be a thing they should be absolutely pushing forward, because that's real, and that actually is something that does matter, especially on portable devices like the Vision Pro and like their MacBook Pros and like their MacBooks and whatnot. But they don't. They continue to push power, even though the graphs on it is all BS and easily able, if it could be proven, for false advertisement. But good luck trying to do that. It's just, what is going on at Apple? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Nothing makes sense. The only thing they're winning on is performance per watt. And they continue to just push otherwise and then price themselves as though, you know, they're freaking NVIDIA. Actually, they price themselves more expensive than NVIDIA in a lot of cases. Who are these people that are going to go ahead and spend $3,500 on this headset? I guess I'd have to ask the same question. Who are the people in the Samsung camp that are going to go ahead and spend $1,200? What was it? $1,200 for a Snapdragon Android tablet? Which is as big as my gaming laptop over there. Even though my gaming laptop was $500 used. It's just, the tech world just makes me go mad. It's insane right now. It is just absolutely Looney Tunes. Why don't we actually take our first break here while I figure out what is going on with my system here, because it really wants to go ahead and search Google on like every single tab I open up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about something interesting, most likely. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. We're going to briefly cover this next one. WorldCoin. WorldCoin, which is the brainchild of one Sam Altman, wants to go ahead and have the everything crypto startup that is going to use AI and retinal scanning to go ahead and provide a world ID by having you look into an orb. And also, this will somehow create a universal income. Folks, I don't think I need to tell you, I don't think I need to hope you have an economics degree to know that this is literally impossible. And quite frankly, as far as like crypto pushes go, as far as ones I've heard, man, this is one of the worst. This is, it writes its own jokes. How can you even take this seriously? Oh, someone just says that you'll understand it, Eagle. You just need to ponder the orb. You chat trust this implicitly. Man, chat is trying to rival me for the amount of sarcasm we can go ahead and have. Let's go ahead and move on to things that are actually possible. That being the RX 7800 XT. So new GPUs from AMD, they're obviously on their way. We have pretty much all the details we could possibly want from this GPU, thanks to Power Color having a little oopsie doodles and showing everything involving this card. It is going to be a slightly stripped down version of the RX 7800 RXT. What the heck was it? XTX? What were the AMD's numbering system makes no sense, and it's driving me insane. 16 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, honestly, like, everything about it seems fine. What's going to matter far more than anything, price. And unfortunately, we do not have that nailed down yet. Just right now, price is, it's the key factor right now in GPUs. Just look at NVIDIA right now. Did anyone know that the RTX 4060 Ti released? It came out this week. It's out. It's the exact same as the RTX 4060 Ti with 8 gigabytes of RAM. It just has 16, and guess what? It's still terrible because it has the same memory bandwidth. It still has the same number of flaws. It still performs very mediocre. And guess what? It still costs way too much. The 16 gigabyte variant costs $500. The 8 gigabyte variant costs $400. And the 8 gigabyte variant performs exactly the same as the 3060 Ti, the last generation, and that costs $300. NVIDIA, why do you hate us? It's an honest question. This isn't any kind of like hyperbolic statement or anything like that. It's not some sort of symbolism. I legitimately want to know, why do you hate your customers? What did we do to offend you? Why do you insult us like this? Are we just not, are we too rich for you? Do you just do this to us because you just say, hey, you need this component for whatever use case you have for, and we just need you to be poorer? Do you hate us? Did we offend your mother? What is it? Why do you hate gamers so much? Why do you hate content creators so much? Why do you hate your customers so blasted much that you insult us like this? Because this is starting to become personal. This is starting to feel like a personal attack. This is just, there's no other way to say it. This is insulting. What's next? The 4050 costing $250? Well, actually, the 3050 costs $250. So we already had that insult. I want this to sink in for a minute, all right? I have in my closet a 17-inch Lenovo mobile workstation with 8 CPU cores, the highest end NVIDIA Quadro GPU that was available at the time, which performs on par with a GTX 1080, and it has 24 gigabytes of RAM on it. That laptop cost $475. Why does your GPU with the same level of performance and less RAM cost as much as that used laptop? Actually, it costs more than that used laptop. Folks, if you are in the PC building market, there's no other way to say this. I legitimately feel sorry for you. Because people go ahead, they save up, you know, $500, $600, $700, $800 for their first PC build. You know, they don't want to go much higher than that because they're afraid they're going to mess something up on their first build ever. But then it's just so satisfying that PC that, you know, you got some advice from a friend. The PC works respectably well, but you have that satisfaction of it's yours. Now, your cost of entry is $800 minimum, and that's going to get you about half of the kind of performance you used to be able to get with an $800 gaming PC. There's inflation, and then there's robbery because you have a monopolistic hold on the entire GPU industry. I don't swear on this show. I don't. But I will say this. You, NVIDIA. I'm sick of this. I really am. And I don't care that, oh, there's a chip shortage, or, oh, there's a demand of the AI industry. First off, the AI industry is starting to fall apart as ChatGPT gets dumber and dumber as more and more people interact with it. There's already a signs that this AI bubble is starting to crumble a bit. And second, that's no reason to insult the rest of us like this. I'm personally offended. I am hurt. And quite frankly, as much as I'd love to see all the benefits of NVIDIA ray tracing and all and everything that could come from that, there's a very high chance that the next GPU going in my gaming rig is going to be AMD. There's a very high chance of that. Meanwhile, AMD has announced a new high-end gaming CPU with Vcache, the Ryzen 7945 HX3D, a one heck of a cat walking across the keyboard model name that chat said, what about Intel? We'll see what Battle Mage does. Alchemist looked good, but we'll see what the next generation of Intel GPUs does. Hopefully there will be one. But anyway, back to the R9 7945 HX3D. This is basically the most powerful special mobile gaming CPU for workstation class laptops or gaming laptops. And unfortunately, right now, it appears to only be in one laptop. I hope that changes. But right now, it so far is only going into one model of Asus laptop. That's kind of disappointing, especially since this sucker is a 16-core CPU. Unfortunately, it's a 55-watt CPU, so you better be plugged in when you have this thing, because otherwise, there went your battery that quick from full to zip. As this thing plus your 125 watt GPU, went ahead and took your 100 watt hour battery and brought it from full to zip in a grand total of 12 minutes. I'm pretty sure the UPS for my desktop rig lasts longer. Whew. But I'll be eager to see if this goes into other machines. I really do hope it does. Oh man, I'm looking at the clock worryingly. Let's move on to Ubisoft. Ubisoft has scared all of its users by saying that it will permanently delete inactive accounts from its Uplay system, and all your purchases would be going with it, but Ubisoft says we totally won't do that. We don't know why you got those emails, but no, we're not doing that, even though we sent out a message saying we're totally doing that. So if you did in fact get a message like that from Ubisoft, apparently disregard that, because Ubisoft says it's not happening, even though it may happen. I don't know, man, but you want to go ahead and file in another article into the whole thing of you will own nothing in the future. There's another one for you right freaking there. Diablo 4 is back in the news as well with their battle pass system. First off, can I just say, I hate battle passes. I really do. Like, just about every single form of the modern battle pass just seems to be like some way to just like hook you into the whole thing. And yes, for those of you wondering, like, what about the battle pass for PvP and FF14? I hate that one too. That one's better because you can't buy your way through it, and it's not built to go ahead and encourage you to buy your way through it, because you literally can't. But holy cow, just let me earn the currency and just buy the rewards I want, man. I don't want to go ahead and play frickin' 200 rounds of being bullied in Crystal Chronicles or Crystalline Conflict to go ahead and get my one-armed mount twice, because I have two characters shoot me. Just let me turn in the currency. I already have too much of it on one character. Ugh. But in any case, there is a problem though on premium battle passes. One of the features that is on Call of Duty and on Fortnite is that the premium battle pass does let you earn enough of the premium currency to be able to buy the next season's premium battle pass. Diablo 4 does not have this feature. Raise your hand if you're surprised, like at all. I hate the fact I'm not surprised. I hate the fact that this is now just my standard for Blizzard. My standard for Blizzard used to be incredible cutscenes, incredible, interesting, concepts, strange new worlds, great storytelling, actual passion in their video games. What's my standard now? The bare minimum that makes cash grab RPG Maker games seem to actually have actual effort put into them. And it's a shame. It is a real shame. Because quite frankly, Diablo 4, there's no reason for a battle pass to be in there. There is no reason for this season nonsense to be in there. All of this is absolutely silly. But of course, this is the modern standard for games now, isn't it? Everything's got to have a battle pass. Everything's got to have a real money item shop. Everything's got to go ahead and try to milk you for all you're worth, like you're a freaking cow, and you're just strapped in for the ride, and they're gonna suck you dry for all you're worth. That's the modern standard for games now, right? That's just what we expect now, isn't it? The worst part is that seems to be true. Until we look at the most recently released game. Larian Studios released a game. It is currently available on the PC. It is a game known as Baldur's Gate 3. I have memed on it the entire podcast. You know what they said to in-app purchases? To answer the question, are there any in-game purchases in Baldur's Gate 3? No. There are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions. What a novel thought. Releasing a game and saying, this is the experience. Enjoy it. I cannot stress enough how much I want to see these guys succeed. I cannot stress it enough. Because this should be the trend. This should continue to be the trend. A trend that says that all of this nickel and diming and treating your customers like cows and cattle and farm animals rather than the customers that they are. Someone in chat said there will likely be DLCs. That's fine. I don't mind the old model of expansions. I don't mind that. If you're going to go ahead and give new content and ask for a payment for that, totally acceptable. I don't mind paying extra for a game or even paying a subscription like I do for FF14 if there is new content to be had. I don't mind that. Looking at FF14 though, I do mind when there's, you know, a $40 amount being introduced when there's dungeons that have no rewards. That's a problem. Speaking of Square, though, one of their rivals is going to be having their game coming to Steam soon. Fantasian, developed by... I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but created by Sakaguchi, well known for being the godfather of Final Fantasy. His creation, Fantasian, could in fact be coming from Steam rather than staying as a Apple Arcade exclusive. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. I actually would look forward to that. I didn't really feel like paying, you know, Apple's monthly subscription for one game. That just seems a little silly. Absolutely. Meanwhile, in other gaming news, Nintendo rumblings are coming out about the next gen console, a Switch Pro, one would say, for the second half of 2024. Only one more year until my Switch OLED is obsolete. Ooh, panic. Makes me wish that my Switch regular lasted just like 2 years more. But oh well, it is what it is. The reports say that it will be backwards compatible. It will reportedly use a LCD screen at first. That's not too surprising. They want to try and keep their costs as low as possible. That's one thing that Nintendo does really well compared to everyone. They want to make sure that the cost to entry is very low so that everyone, not just the 1% that can afford an NVIDIA GPU, can actually go ahead and enjoy it. Like, I'd love to be playing Baldur's Gate 3. Guess what? I have nothing that can play it because it's only available on PC right now, and there's no way my 1060 can handle it. They require what? Like a 3060 minimum? Oh god, maybe my laptop can actually play it. Now that I think about it. Oh god, is my gaming laptop a more powerful gaming rig than my desktop? Oh god. This is starting to go down a path I'm not comfortable with. That also being said, Lenovo is, well, someone in chat says, of course they want it affordable. The money's in the game. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's how the consoles get you. That extra $10 to $20 per. That is how it goes. Lenovo is planning on making a Switch. I'm sorry, not a Switch. A Steam Deck competitor. Are you really surprised? I'm not. Here's what's going to really matter, though. What's the software? This is one of the biggest problems the ROG Ally had. All right. So many of these PC manufacturers are coming out with Steam Deck competitors and putting Windows on it. This makes for a terrible experience, and I wouldn't recommend the ROG Ally for that reason. If this Legion Go, as that's being rumored of being called, launches, you know, you may not like it, but install SteamOS on it. It'll be a much more successful handheld. I guarantee it. All right, let's get into the weird stuff, shall we? NASA is launching its own streaming platform, and you'll never guess what it's called. Just kidding. You guessed it immediately. It's NASA Plus. I mean, how could I lose? Just freaking just go ahead. NASA Plus, there it is. It's their own streaming platform. Although there is no subscription required. So, you know, you're ever just looking for something to go ahead and sleep to, there you go. Actually, you know what? NASA Plus actually would have amazing content if they did one thing and one thing only. Have a show on there that is nothing but random streamers screwing around with the voice to text or the text to speech system in Moonbase Alpha. You'd watch that. You can't tell me you wouldn't watch that. I know you would. Hey, you. Johnny Madden. Exactly. See? I did forget about this exciting little World of Warcraft news, though. Everyone, there is exciting news within the World of Warcraft community. Ladies and gentlemen, Glorbo is finally coming to World of Warcraft, and it is amazing. You know, for the longest time, players have been begging for Glorbo to come to World of Warcraft, but you know, it took them way too long, almost 20 years. They have been demanding Glorbo from day one, and it's finally coming. Of course, those who don't know, Glorbo is not a real thing unless you're in the Rick and Morty universe. It is, in fact, just a made-up word. But if you ever want to see the downfall of AI, this is it. Far too many news sites that rely on AI to write their articles 100% bought hook, line, and sinker that Glorbo was a feature coming to many different video games, World of Warcraft being number one on the list. Incredible. Just when you thought that everyone with an English degree was out of work thanks to AI, the internet have proved that if it's artificial and it claims it's intelligent, we can make it look stupid. Without fail. Or, you know, if you just want to break AI, just get water on it. Speaking of which, how's this for water damage? There are new circuit boards that will fully dissolve in water. There is a new commercialized PCB substrate that will 100% dissolve in hot water. Boy, do not, under any circumstances, drop whatever this thing is in a sink. God, what's going to happen to this thing in high humidity? I have so many questions about this. I mean, this is interesting from a recycling standpoint, okay? And that's the sole purpose of this, is that when electronics are dead, they can just go ahead, dunk the whole PCB in warm water, and all the precious metals will just float on this sort of thing. And of course, this is just a concept right now. It's not going into anything. But man, this whole concept and test raises so many questions and is absolutely fascinating. But if you really just want to be a jerk in the future, get one of those super soakers with just hot bath water. Ruin everything. But instead of ruining everything, let's instead just get ourselves ready for the esports season. Because there's plenty of sports coming around. Such things that you are not ready for, such as competitive Excel. Are you ready for competitive Excel? Yes, the so-called Cheater Bowl is coming to ESPN, and I thought this was a meme at first. ESPN 8, the Ocho. I can't even. No, an AI did not write this. Chat wondered if an AI wrote this. No, it was not. It was written by The Verge. But, oh man, it is actually a real thing. Competitive Excel. I'm sure those who are in the know have high respect for it. But here's one we can all agree on. All right. Here is an esports story that we can all laugh at together. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. There was a Street Fighter 6 European tournament. And they had an oopsie. Chat's already laughing. You see, there was a tournament going on, and, well, of course, the casters have to go ahead and view the matches. And here's the thing you have to realize with online games. Your client you're viewing through, if you've done any modifications to your client, only you see them. Okay? It does not affect anything of what they see. But little did watchers of the tournament know, Chun-Li, one of the characters in Street Fighter 6, got a we'll say uniform that no one knew existed, which was modded into this client. All right, let's stop dancing around it. The genius who was broadcasting this tournament forgot he had a nude mod enabled for Chun-Li, and in fact broadcasted a grand total of about 15 seconds of Chun-Li fighting buck naked before having to very quickly shift back off to not the gameplay, and then the caster is trying to very desperately laugh off the whole thing and be like, don't ban us. I just, boy, maybe, you know, I just have a paranoia about this sort of thing. Maybe I just have an unhealthy sort of just making sure this kind of thing doesn't happen. This stems from just me not wanting technical difficulties to show at all. But holy cow. Maybe, just maybe, before you go ahead and take your computer and start using it to broadcast to thousands of people, you might want to go ahead and double check your entire game file to make sure nothing's awry, whether it be, you know, corrupted sound files or, you know, nude mods. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and by the way, yeah, things are actually going much better. Render is up. We just need to do some work to get it running. Work is coming soon. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's imminent now. Now, the real problem with this whole tournament thing is the fact that only Chun-Li was nude. Come on, if you gotta think about what this means to the community. Equal opportunity nudity. Install nude mods for every single character in the game. Come on, man. If you're gonna go for equality and equity and all that jazz, you better go ahead and make sure there's nude mods for every single character. It's only fair. Sheesh. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so let's get to some Twitch news now that our technical difficulties are over. I don't know what happened. We ended up just having to unplug and replug in the keyboard and then do like a software reset on everything. I don't know what's going on. I imagine it's related to our occasional sound issues, but I actually have no idea. It is mind-blowing, infuriating, and just we're just gonna have to reformat everything. I think I'm gonna actually have to use the nuclear option of just another SSD. I'm foreseeing it. I see no other way around it. Let's get to some Twitch news, though. How about this little oddball thing? Twitch streamers do giveaways. In fact, I'll be doing a giveaway after this podcast, back when I recorded it. So for those listening to the live version, it's too late. Although we do giveaways pretty much on the regular, so free Steam games, that sort of thing, but I digress. Giveaways are not an uncommon thing to do to go ahead and drum up viewership. All right, it's very normal. There's a reason, however, that streamers do it online. They never want to go ahead and do it in a specific location. Because first off, if you're small like me, you're going to get no one to show up to a random park for said giveaway. Not unless you're giving away like a car or something crazy like that. But if you're very big, you end up having a problem. And that is, well, a lot of people gathering in one area can go really bad really quickly if certain precautions are not put in place in the first place. Twitch streamer and social media influencer Kai Sana, which I don't know if that's how his name is pronounced, and I really don't care. Went ahead and had a brilliant idea. He was going to go ahead and do a giveaway in Union Square at New York City. He would be giving away, quote, computers, PS5s, microphones, keyboards, webcams, gaming chairs, headphones, and gift cards from a truck in Union Square. All right. Let's pretend for a moment you didn't hear about this story, because odds are you've heard about this story. What do you think's going to happen? All right. You have a guy, 4 million subscribers on YouTube, 5 million followers on Instagram, and 6.5 million followers on Twitch. Says he's going to do a huge giveaway in New York City. One of the most densely populated cities in all of the US. Might even be the most. I actually don't know for certain, so I'm just saying one of the most. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think that it was poorly maintained? No authorities were called to maintain crowds, and there was no system for it, and they just kind of gave it away at random, amassing into a huge riot? Because that's exactly what happened. This should have been so easy to foresee. Anyone could have seen this coming who knows anything about these sort of things. And I am stunned for a influencer with this kind of following. First off, I seriously doubt they work alone. If they do, that's very impressive, and I'm actually surprised they had this big of an oversight anyway. But, I'm legitimately surprised that, no one on his team saw a problem with this. He also went ahead and said that it went from 300 kids to a couple thousand kids in minutes. Oh, no crap. What did you think was going to happen? Like, But in any case, the streamer was removed by police and was eventually charged for inciting a riot. Now, what are my thoughts on this? Just don't host a local gathering solely for the purpose of a giveaway. There's a reason why a lot of these sort of influencers that they want to go ahead and get their clout, or a lot of companies for that fact, the main reason they want to go ahead and piggyback on other events and partner with influencers is so that they can pool their resources together. You don't see Linus Sebastian just going out into some big public place in Canada just giving away laptops. It doesn't happen. He goes ahead and organizes these sort of things online because he knows his audience is, well, global, online. In addition, it is way easier to organize this sort of thing online. The ones he does do locally, guess what? It's usually partnered with someone, and then it's usually part of some expo or some convention or just anything like that. That would have been the right way to go about this, but this was incredibly irresponsible. I don't know if inciting a riot was the correct charging. I think that's a little bit up in the air. But another part of it is I'm not familiar with New York law. Pretty much like all I know from New York law is like what I've heard from Louis Rossmann, which you don't know, Louis Rossmann hates the city of New York with the fiery passion of 1,000 burning suns. So I can't exactly say I'm unbiased in that regard. But this is just, it's a very head shaking moment is what it is. There's no other way to say it. Meanwhile, Twitch is making some changes. First off, one thing I actually didn't put into my stories, but is something to talk about. It is the fact that Twitch has now gone and started taking the steps towards clip discoverability. If you have a Twitch channel and you have clips, you can select up to 20 of them to be considered featured clips and will be on the front page of your Twitch page, and also will be available for viewing in the clips feed that is going to be coming out in next couple of days. In fact, decent chance it's out by the time you're listening to this. I want to say August 8th was when it said it was going to be coming out, but now I'm not 100% certain. So this podcast comes out on Monday, so might be out as soon as Tuesday. Woo! But in addition to that, Twitch is also cracking down on gambling once again. They are in fact expanding the ban on live stream gambling to now include Blaze and GameDom or Gamdom. It's hard to tell which one it's supposed to be. Probably Gamdom. I don't really care though. But those are now 100% not allowed to be streamed on Twitch, period, bar none. Now, I've been documenting, big Twitch wins and losses. And quite frankly, Twitch has had a lot of losses lately. All right. There is some good. There's the discoverability feed. That's good. There is the clips thing that's coming out. That's good. There's the fact that it appears to be that pretty much all ingest server problems for affiliates is gone. A huge win. I can't even begin to tell you how big a problem that was back in the day. But then you have significant L's. Subscription splits being locked in at 50-50 for basically everyone, affiliate or partner alike. More benefits of being partners just being stripped away. The only benefit now between affiliate and partner is that partners get more emotes. That's it. There might be a few other ones too, but they're so minor, most are not worth mentioning. And that's a huge L. Because even as an affiliate, even though my numbers have been dwindling lower and lower just because my own real life keeps getting in the way, I do want to try and work harder to get to that point, you know? Well, what's the point? 4 more emotes I can't fill? Cool. That's super cool. And then you compare that to, you know, Kick, who says 95.5. You compare it to a more reasonable platform like YouTube, which is 70-30 across the board. You know, Twitch doesn't look like that good a place to stream that kind of content. To make matters even worse, just everything just doesn't look good for Twitch. We've had a lot of losses. And everything has been pointing to a downward trend for Twitch rather than an upward trend. So, what about the other two? Well, the state of live streaming on YouTube is basically stuck in a ditch. There's no real other way to say it. YouTube live streaming, they had their big push towards trying to take a bite out of Twitch, and then they just stopped. There's still a lot of weird quirkiness in the way their live streaming service works that's unique to them that you got to learn how to deal with. They have rating, but it doesn't really work. They have a live chat service, but it's not that great. It's very weird. Kick, on the other hand, oh man, it's just all roses, right? Right? Yeah, about that. There have been more and more eyeballs, and not the good kind, looking over at Kick. And the fact that they have some great association with gambling, illegal gambling at that. And then on top of that, you know how Kick looks like basically a carbon copy of Twitch? Turns out that some vulnerabilities that were patched by Twitch after that source code leak, which we highly suspect is what Kick is based on, it looks like those vulnerabilities exist on Kick. It's unknown at this time what these vulnerabilities can get you access to. But all we know is that vulnerabilities exist on Kick, and it may not be a very secure platform. It's unknown whether personal data, credit card information, stream keys, or anything of that nature could be taken, but not good, to say the least. So for once, things are actually looking better for Twitch. But as I kind of restated earlier, there is a lot of L's that Twitch has to overcome for them to be the great platform they once were. I will say, though, I do have better hopes for this Dan Clancy CEO than I did before. He is showing more and more signs, both in his actions and his words, of actually wanting to improve the platform, which is a huge turnaround from how things were when he first took over, in which we got that massive split reduction and all kinds of other bad news right when he took over, which, I mean, come on, we all like very strongly suspected that that's Daddy Amazon putting the screws to Twitch to say, come on, make money or else. Oh yeah, you know how earlier I trailed off and said not to mention, and then just kind of lost what the other negative thing is? Yeah, I literally like forgot mid thought. The ad experience. Oh god, the ad experience. The ad experience on Twitch is terrible. You know what's even better? Here's what slays me. All right. I'm going to state this again. And I'm going to state this as loudly and as clearly as I can. All right. All right. All right. All right. Come on in. Streamers, come on in. Are you listening? Okay. Stop running the automatic ad system! Stop it! Stop it! No! Bad! All of you running this stupid automated ad system, stop it now! No! Bad! I freaking should find you all, take a rolled up newspaper, first explain to you what a newspaper is, because a lot of you have no idea what it is anymore because you're all so freaking young, and then beat you with it. No! Bad! There is no reason any of you, partner or affiliate alike, should be running this bloody thing. Unless you were running like an automated 24/7 channel, in which case, dude, you're breaking all kinds of rules. I mean, you go ahead and do what you want, mold breaker. Run scheduled ads, for the love of God. I am getting sick of trying to go ahead and check out new streamers, and then in the middle of their great boss fight get interrupted and can't see absolutely squat. And before you say, oh no, don't worry, you can go ahead and see it in this very tiny little window in the upper right hand corner. No! I am not about to go ahead and say, yes, I want to keep watching the fight. I have to listen to a Mountain Dew commercial while moving everything out of the way and taking my monitor and bring it like right here to be like, yes, I can see it. It's made of 7 pixels. No. That's not okay. Bad. Get a timer. Set it for 50 minutes. Actually run a 3-minute ad break like a normal human. Collect your ad revenue that way. Get rid of the pre-roll so that, you know, newcomers can come in and see your content without seeing an ad. And while you're at that point, get up. Get the blood flowing. Get some water. Use the bathroom. Then sit back down and then wonder, now what fresh heck am I in for? There. Have I now hit... I'm pretty sure I've now hit every single stereotypical mandatory Eagle podcast rant The only one I'm missing right now to make a complete bingo is a Chromebook. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Stop using Chromebooks. They're terrible. All right, moving on. Have I now hit them all? Have I filled out your bingo card? Is there any one of them missing? Do we need to add gambling rant to it all? That being said, though, this whole thing for, oh, right, I forgot about the headphone. No, I talked about the headphone. I talked about Samsung earlier. I did talk about it. Honestly, though, the whole headphone jack thing, that is more of a live chat rant than it is a me rant. The me rant on is just like, guys, we lost. There's a grand total of 2 phones in existence that have a headphone jack. The fight's over. I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but I really can't. Like, it's like still trying to praise anyway. Let's actually move on here because we've so far only covered 4 tabs. Now, one of the big reasons why there is a huge push on going anti-gambling is also this thing about CSGO gambling skins. Apparently a thing that's really common is, and I'm not in the CSGO world. If anyone has seen me play a first-person shooter, you know what they usually say? Wow, you're better than I expected, but you're still bad. That's about the best compliment I get when I play first-person shooters. So me and CSGO are not going to mix, like, at all. But one of the things that does happen is that you get loot boxes to get various skins, and then you sell the skins. So it ends up becoming, you know, a form of gambling. It's more complicated than this. I don't know all the details, obviously. But this is a thing that's been going on for a long time. But here's the thing. It's becoming apparent that this whole CSGO skin gambling phenomenon started when these people were minors. And then they grow up and have an actual gambling problem. You're kind of also seeing this kind of thing spread to other parts of gaming as well, all right? It's one of the reasons why everyone was so eager to jump on the loot box train. When I say people, I mean the game developers themselves, jumping on the loot box train to go ahead and take advantage of this. You're taking advantage of a psychological weakness and profiting off that. That's now being cracked down against because of this very thing. This is also going to lead to, and already has led to, a lot of games just axing gambling minigames. There's a reason why the game corner is no longer in Pokemon games, which is a real shame. In fact, actually, that's actually one thing I miss from gaming in general. There have been fewer and fewer side mini games in like standalone titles. Like most Pokemon games have what for a side mini game? Contests, Actually, I'm trying to think from like the latest ones. What did well, Scarlet and Violet's a weird title in the fact that it's very open world, but there isn't really like a whole lot of like mini game stuff in there. You just go nuts. Just go do whatever you want. Try to glitch your way up that cliff. And then somehow succeed half the time. Sword and Shield, did they have anything? I don't think they did, actually. What was before that? But you get what I mean. Like, mini games in general are just kind of vanishing. And the gambling ones especially going away. Like, here's a horrifying thought to a lot of my RPG friends out there. Do you think the next Dragon Quest game will have a casino? It's kind of surreal to think about when you kind of think on it. But every single Dragon Quest since Dragon Quest 2 for the NES has had some kind of casino. Whether it be the rigged slot machine you never win, which actually teaches you a very good lesson about gambling. Seriously, did that thing ever give anything to anyone ever? I'm pretty sure it hasn't. Anyone who says it has is a liar. Or a slot machine apologist. In freaking DQ3, you're literally betting on monster fights. Whoa. I don't think there was actually... There wasn't a slot... There was a Parcheesi board in certain versions of DQ3, though. Which honestly was kind of cool. I actually would welcome that in more RPGs. Not gonna lie. DQ4 just straight up had a whole casino. Slot machine, poker, monster fight betting arena. Trying to actually score critical hits with Tulun. It had all kinds of gambling in that game. It was nuts. It's been a staple of that franchise. Just imagine if that wasn't there in 12. Would you really be surprised? I'll tell you personally, I wouldn't be. It's going to very quickly become kind of a dying breed. Although while we're at it, for the whole weirdness of kind of gambling where you least expect it, there is a poker minigame built into Discord. How long until that becomes a controversy, I wonder? There's a real mystery for people. But on this whole thing of trying to, quote, protect the children, we have this little invasion of privacy. The ESRB, which is the regulatory body here in the United States that rates video games and what age range they're appropriate for, and why they aren't appropriate for various age ranges, wants to go ahead and use face scanning to verify the age of buyers. So in an FTC filing, the ESRB wants to go ahead and have facial age estimation systems powered by AI to determine that people buying mature rated games, teen rated games, etc., are actually the age they say they are. Okay. All right. Let's be real here for a second. One of two things is going to happen with this system. Possibly both. Either A, it'll be found there's a very easy way to go ahead and trick this thing using the Flipper Zero. Or B, it'll be found out that even though they say they won't store any of the facial data, that they will be storing the facial data, and it will be a massive honeypot for some kind of hacker that's going to get access to all kinds of personal information and lead to a massive data breach, and the government's going to go oopsie doodles and do nothing about it, despite the fact that tons of people just had a whole bunch of personal information leaked, including somehow payment information. How much you want to bet one of those two things will happen, if not both, if this system were to be put in? I personally think this is a stupid idea. Now, on one hand, it'll be very interesting just on the grounds that, you know, how are you going to enforce this online? All right. There's the first thing. How are you actually going to enforce this online? Let's say, for example, I'm 12. All right. I want to go buy Baldur's Gate 3. And I want to go ahead and see the things they wouldn't let me see in that live trailer with that druid and vampire romance going, oh my. That's stuff I shouldn't be able to see. All right, I shouldn't be able to see. What the flip is stopping me from going ahead and ordering that on Amazon? What are you going to do? Scan my face on Amazon? I have no webcam. Kids are just going to go ahead and just get... They're just going to go ahead and go online and just get it that way. And while we're at it, this system will single-handedly kill any sort of actual retail video game outlet. Actual physical location for GameStop, gone. Because there is no way that this is going to help business. This is going to hinder it so much. Let's even pretend you're not, you know, some 12-year-old that doesn't want to see bear lewds. All right, let's pretend that for a second. All right. What if you just hate cameras? Seriously. That is an actual phobia. Oddly enough, I know of at least one streamer that has that phobia. They just super are not comfortable around cameras at freaking all. Are you just going to ostracize them because of this? All right, well, I guess they're just going to order their stuff online forever. That's going to be killer to say family online retro shops. There's a few in my area that, well, first off, I can never find them because by the time I'm actually off work, they're closed. Womp womp. But if then I had to go in and then have my face be scanned and all the other, I don't want to go through that nonsense. I just want to go ahead and find a working copy of GoldenEye, man. I don't want to go through all this rigmarole. I don't want to go through this, that, and the other thing. Ugh. I'll get it online. Screw that noise. This is going to help no one. This is going to stop basically no one. Because let's be honest, if you're 12 and you want to see hot vampire on bear action, which is a thing I can now say in the year 2023, that's a thing that now exists, nothing's going to stop you. This will slow you down, but you're just going to go ahead and you'll find a way online. It's not even going to be that hard, unfortunately. Welcome to the internet. It just is what it is. All right, I know we've been going long in this segment, but one last story since we're on the topic of security. I want this headline to sink in for a minute, okay? Let this sink in. An insurance company flies a drone over a man's house and, based upon what they saw, canceled his insurance policy. Now, as a business owner, I am used to the concept of the insurance company wanting to schedule inspections to make sure that we're holding up our end of maintaining the place, and then they continue to provide insurance to the place. In fact, one big example is, in fact, boiler inspections. We're actually due for a boiler inspection. I got the email late Friday. We got to go ahead and schedule that. But that is a place of work. All right. When you're at home, there is a certain level of privacy you expect. Even for someone like me who goes ahead and has an entire broadcast studio set up in his bedroom, I fully expect you're not going to be able to go ahead and just tilt the camera as you wish and see whoever is just laying on my bed or anything like that, and just, you know, that sort of thing. All right, there is a level of privacy that is expected in one's private home. Unless you apparently have home insurance, then apparently that just goes all out the window. The insurance company can just fly drones over your home, annoy everyone, and then cancel, not suspend, not give a warning, cancel on the spot your insurance plan based on clutter, debris, hazardous conditions, tires, or a dilapidated car in his yard. Okay, my car broke down and needs a new transmission. I have nowhere else to put it, so it's in my yard. We just had a family gathering, and we didn't clean up the place as expected. It just happened a few days ago. We haven't gotten around to it. I mean, all of these things are very easy to explain. It's not like, oh, we went ahead and dug a hole to the center of the earth and wanted to go ahead and harvest magma for science in our backyard. It's nothing insane like that would break any laws or make them a hazard to the people around them. It's some clutter. The story is still currently ongoing, and well, they're kind of this is going to be a very interesting one to keep an eye on. Because not a legal expert, and quite frankly, a lot of the YouTube lawyers, I'd much rather hear their take on this than all the political stuff going on right now. Because not gonna lie, I stopped caring about it. I'd much rather hear their personal take on, can the insurance company do this? If by having insurance, do you just give up your right to privacy even though you clearly have a fence and expect privacy in your own yard? Should you just expect that the only place you're private is your own bloody bedroom? Like, this is some weird dystopian nonsense here. It's kind of crazy. I'd say I'm curious what everyone else's take is on this, but I have a gut feeling that most of you, the listeners, are in agreement with me. In fact, actually, why don't you all raise your hands if you agree with me? Or just don't when, once again, I remind you again that this is, in fact, an audio podcast. I still don't have access to your cameras. I still can't see you raising your hand. I can't even say it's an audio podcast anymore. I want to say we're actually a video podcast in more areas than not now. But I still can't see your hands unless you type it in chat like that one guy did. We're going to go on a break here. When we come back. When we come back, we're going to talk about the thing you're all here to listen to. We're going to talk about the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. And Tesla, actually. We're going to talk about Tesla first, because there's some very interesting stuff going on there as well. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. So, Elon. It's amazing how quickly everything's just kind of coming crumbling down. And pretty much the only people that are left around Elon's camp are pretty much just the true believers, and that's just about it. Even on the Tesla side, the one thing that actually was going well for Elon, even that is starting to come down as, well, a lot of people are seeing a lot of missing range out of their cars. Because one of the things that Tesla has over pretty much every other electric car manufacturer is the fact that they have the range. That's what Tesla cars got going for them. They have the range. And they have the network. The network part is starting to go away. We can get to that a bit more in a bit. But they have the range. You get, 400-mile ranges, 500-mile ranges, at least according to Tesla. Well, a lot of people, when actually measuring it, are seeing a lot closer to 350 instead of 400. That's kind of a problem. That's what, 15% less, 20% less? You're kind of out of a margin of error in that. And of course, like, a lot of this was dismissed for the longest time, just saying, oh, well, you went ahead and you were doing a lot of uphill, or oh, it was colder than expected, or blah, 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 blah. A lot of explain on this sort of stuff. There's been far, far, far too many now to just dismiss it as just a lot of odd factors. It's becoming more and more and more apparent that Tesla has just been intentionally inflating their numbers. But it doesn't end there. Oh no, this gets better. Because it also shows that many of these problems are also just kind of it's not being reported on. Because what ends up happening is that a lot of these service appointments regarding driving ranges just get canceled by an alleged secret team, and then Tesla just hopes the complaints go away. But of course, if you want to go complain about it, who do you go to? You go to the media. Well, media tries to go to Tesla's PR team, but oh wait, there isn't one. Huh. That is not good. That whole not having a PR team is starting to kind of backfire here for Tesla, because now you have no one to defend any of this, no one to go ahead and show any hard data against this. The only person you got is Elon himself, and quite frankly, especially the way Twitter's been dealt with, there's not a whole lot of trust for Elon, like at all. Would you trust him? It's hard to say you would at this point. Now, that being said, Tesla is one of the best EV makers in the world right now. There are others, but you know, one of the things they excel at is their software. But there's a problem with the software. It's the fact that Tesla goes ahead and builds every single Tesla with every single feature that it can have, and then locks them behind software if you don't pay for them. So like, your car is full self-driving capable. It is in fact capable of higher speeds. It's capable of this, that, and the other thing. It's capable of heated seats and such. I think the only things that are actually hardware dependent are the dual motors and then the battery size. I do not believe they lock some of their battery behind software, but then only unlock it if you go ahead and pay for, you know, the extended range. Well, I guess we'll find out soon, because you know how a lot of CPUs have had various little quirky hardware flaws? It turns out the AMD chip inside Teslas can actually go ahead and allow you to unlock features of your Tesla that you should not have access to, and let you have access to them. That's especially huge considering the fact that full self-driving thing, that thing your car is perfectly capable of doing, you know, that thing that costs $10,000 now which if you went ahead and bought a cheap Tesla is 25% the cost of the vehicle. But one little software hack and poof, you just saved yourself 10 grand. Now, the way Tesla would respond with this before is either A, void your warranty, which, by the way, good luck with that, considering the current stuff going on with right to repair and, you know, unlocking features of your own car. That'd be a very interesting one to see go to court. But then also prevent you from using the supercharging network, which, by the way, whoa. Could you imagine if this was a gasoline vehicle? Could you imagine if you had, like, say, just pick something at random, say a BMW, and if you dared to go ahead and take your car to get fixed to anywhere but a BMW, that all gas stations would stop serving you gas? But that's not the same. You can charge your car at home. Yes, I can also have people bring me gas canisters at home too and fill my car that way. Yeah, it's not the exact same, but it's, you know, kind of similar and kind of equally, you know, a little crazy. But that's the way Tesla does things. And quite frankly, oddly enough, it makes those of us who are not Tesla cultists, but, you know, fans of EVs and interested in the concept, kind of looking to alternatives. It's actually making us want to go ahead and look at brands like Ford and GM, the former titans of the gasoline car industry, and say, what do you got? Quite frankly, right now, the answer is not much, especially since the new car market, for reasons that cannot explain, just seems to not be able to deliver vehicles for reasons that cannot be explained. And also, frickin', what is up with the used car market? I digress. I'm getting off topic here. While the new car market is trying to figure out how to deliver vehicles, though, there are some big moves happening in the case of infrastructure for these EVs. All right. Right now, if you have a Tesla, you have a unique port compared to everyone else. Everyone else has a port known as a I actually can't find the acronym for it. Wow, I really can't find it in this article. What the heck? I'm losing my mind. Hey, I'll explain it in layman terms, which is what I was gonna have to do anyway. Basically, right now in North America, there are two plugs. There is the Tesla plug, and then there's also the general plug. The general plug also has a variation of it that is slightly bigger, that allows for direct DC fast charging. I want to say pretty much every connector over in Europe is that generalized plug that I am blanking 100% on what the acronym is for it. But again, I digress. Right now, the general plugs are kind of really janky to use, and there's not that many of them, whereas the Tesla chargers are all designed for Teslas, and you can adapt them to a generic plug. And in fact, now Tesla is allowing other vehicles to connect to them, but the cords have a hard time reaching in most cases. That's the state of EVs right now. So it's kind of awkward. That being said, though, Ford and GM made a deal to switch to the same plug that Tesla uses. So this originally looked like this is a godsend for Tesla, okay? Because now every single North American EV will be using the same port as Tesla's and can use the same infrastructure, and all's happy in the world, right? Well, first off, Tesla superchargers don't have a very long cord, so they're not very flexible in what can charge to them. But you know, it's better than nothing. That, and although Tesla owns the patents and whatnot for the supercharger, they do not own the patents for the plug, apparently. Anyone can use that connector, most people just don't. So, here's what ended up happening. And this is actually some very interesting news for what's going to happen here in North America for electric vehicles. BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, and Stellantis are all working together to create one massive public charging network, and it will be compatible with both of the charging standards in North America, and will in fact use the plug and pay standard. So not only will this new venture to launch all of these charging stations support the latest standards, it supports both Tesla and the non-Tesla connector. They in fact also use DC charging and non-DC charging for that standardized plug that I can't remember the acronym for. And it will also support paying with a card or paying just by plugging in. They are also looking to put these up in locations that are actually convenient to, while you're on the road, take a pit stop. Those who actually go ahead and go on long road trips or have long commutes, it is not uncommon, I do this actually fairly frequently as well, to go ahead, fill up your vehicle with gas, and while it's filling up, quickly go in, assuming it's a gas station that you trust, go and get a bite to eat. Or something to drink. Or something along those lines. Right now, most Tesla stations are just kind of sort of near grocery stores. Just kind of out there. You're just kind of just doing whatever. Someone in chat said their local gas station started adding Tesla charging stations. It's a good move. Someone in chat said Eagle's buying a tornado or two. Dude, tornadoes are awful. Here is the world's coldest take ever. Tornadoes are the worst gas station food ever. Second only to anything that is actually inedible. Like that burnt hot dog no one wants to grab off the roller grill. Oh, no, I take that back. Second only to gas station nachos. You know exactly why I say second only gas station nachos. You know what gas station nachos are? Gas station nachos is a bag of plain chips. Because you thought you were going to get some cheese. You thought you'd be able to get some toppings. You know dang well they're out of all of that. You got nothing. You paid extra for nothing. And you're walking out going, oh, plain stale chips. Yay. But back to the point of these stations. This would take Tesla out of the equation for being one of the biggest long-term electric charging station networks in the country. They'd still be around for quite a while, probably about the next 5 years at least. But if this goes through as planned, this no longer makes every Ford, GM, BMW, whatever electric vehicle reliant on Tesla and the jank Electrify America network that nobody likes using. We'll have to see how this goes. Although someone in chat mentioned this would not work with Nissans. They apparently use their own plug because apparently Nissan hates progress, I guess. I don't know if that actually applies to newer Nissans. I'd say let's quickly look it up, but we're running out of time as it is. We got less than an hour, and we haven't even started talking about the platform formerly known as Twitter. In fact, why don't we go ahead and start talking about the platform formerly known as Twitter. Twitter, as we spoke about 2 weeks ago now, did officially change its name to X. They changed their name to X pretty much the day the last podcast came out. And wow, it's even dumber than I thought. The bar was low, and somehow, they managed to go even lower than I set the bar, and the bar I set was underground. So X.com now points to Twitter. Twitter.com still works and will work for the foreseeable future until one day Elon just decides to kill it, because Elon can't go ahead and have a rational thought go through his head ever. You may think I'm being very mean to him, but I'm not. This is exactly what he deserves. There's just no other way for me to say it at this point. It's atrocious. And the best part is the actual X they chose. It's not even like a custom designed X. It's the capital X from Special Alphabets 4. It's from a free-to-use font. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's from a $30 font. You know, the Twitter bird actually took, effort to make. There actually was a whole thing from the previous designer of the bird. Talk about how every single curve was part of a perfect circle so that the Twitter bird would be recognized no matter the size. There actually was significant thought that went into the Twitter logo. And heck, the Twitter brand had the Band-Aid effect. Like, let that sink in for a minute. For those who don't know what the Band-Aid effect is, it is the fact where a word becomes, or a brand becomes so known with a thing, you begin to use that word to describe that thing. Like, you never say, hand me a bandage. You say, hand me a Band-Aid. Almost no one says, let me look that up on the internet. They say, let me Google that. Imagine if Google changed their name to B. It'd be beyond stupid, but that's what Twitter did. You have burned so much of what made Twitter Twitter. It is beyond stupid. Now, granted, this doesn't make the platform worse. In fact, it actually makes it far more entertaining, because now we get to watch every single company that uses X for anything to then start suing Twitter for infringing on their trademark. Are you ready for the easiest lawsuit in the world between X videos and Twitter? Oh, that'll be sweet. By the by, someone did in fact have the Twitter handle @X. Twitter offered to make a deal with the guy. He refused, and then Twitter just kind of took it. Because Twitter just stopped giving a single care on the planet. This is the kind of people you're dealing with. And you want to know how little warning there was in all of this? How little warning? While internally, Twitter let everyone know, the sign designer that had to take Twitter down from the building got an encounter from the police because the police weren't informed, or anyone within the city was informed of the change. So the police stopped the sign worker, just assuming that the sign worker was committing vandalism of some kind. Which, quite frankly, considering how deranged some people are at the changes at Twitter, is not out of the realm of possibility. Let's be perfectly honest. So, you know, Twitter is now just X, all right? You'd think making a sign that just says X and have it be compliant with any kind of laws would be easy, all right? Oh, no. You don't understand. This is Elon we're talking about. And if there's one thing that Elon is that he's an absolute freaking moron. Because this multi-billion-dollar freaking businessman somehow has never heard of local ordinances in regards to signs. And in fact, put up, without contacting anyone within the city, a giant glowing X, and even better, had it so this thing was blinking at as high as it could directly at a residential apartment complex. Where I'm at in my own business, we can't even have a blinking open sign. That is actually how restrictive some of these places can be. I can't even have a digital sign in my window that says I can't go ahead and put like a little TV in the window. First off, because A, someone would smash the window and steal the TV, because that's how petty people are nowadays. But B, I couldn't have that going ahead and changing what our specials are unless it only changes once every 5 minutes and is not functional at night. That is how strict some ordinances can be. My open sign cannot blink at all, period, bar none, full stop. And any digital signs cannot change no more than once every 5 minutes. But this clown thought, let me go ahead and have a giant signal that will blink X into the sky to summon the X-Men like it's the bloody bats symbol directly in an apartment complex. Like, oh yeah, that's fine. Of course it wasn't. It lasted a day. 1 day. I'm sure there's some Tesla fanboys out there that think I'm going too hard on Elon Musk, but I try to look at this from both sides, from both point of views. All right. I've looked at this from both sides of this. All right. Elon's stupid. This is just completely and utterly dumb. There's no other side to this. There is no Elon didn't know any better. Because quite frankly, when you're this side, you better know better, and you better go ahead and check with people. You should know better, because even I know better, and I have a business that's worth, what, quarter? It's only in the 6 figures. Yours is worth 9. Someone in chat said inspectors were blocked from access. Oh yeah, that's gonna fly too. Freaking idiots. Just when you think that Elon couldn't be any dumber, he proves us wrong. Twitter was big, okay? A lot of people have left. More than I expected, but nowhere near as many as you expected have left. That's about where I'd say is the leaving of Twitter. A lot of people thought that Twitter would lose all of its people. I'd say it's lost 20 to 30% of its user base. I expected maybe 10% to leave. That's about where we're at right now with Twitter. But you went ahead. You took the top tier brand recognition with Twitter, and you burned it and turned it into a single letter. A single letter, mind you, that every time I do my prep for this podcast now, and I have a ton of tabs open, my heart stops a little bit every time I see an X up there, because I wonder how the heck I managed to accidentally open a porn site, because that's my first thought when I see the letter X as a freaking logo on a freaking browser tab. And I guarantee you I'm not the only one with that thought either. And then the jargon that's used within Twitter. Sending a tweet, retweeting, that sort of thing. It is all gone. Now it's post. Now it's repost. It's all gone. I could not stress enough how dumb of a business this is. I don't even care what they do from here on out, because there's a lot of talk about, oh, well, it's going to be the everything app. Oh, man, you don't understand. It's going to be the great app that does it all. It's going to be a social media platform. It's going to be the banking application. It's going to be able to do it all. I do not want to send my grandmother a funny video from x.com. I just don't. Do you? Do you want to send your friends and family videos from x.com? Because I'm willing to bet you don't. You're going to be worried that they're going to judge you and say, oh, wow. Is this that hot vampire on Bear Action I keep hearing about and them video games I keep hearing about? No, it was a cat video. Not that kind either. It was just a cute kitten being picked up. I wanted to brighten your day, Grandma. Always remember the golden rule in business. If you aren't growing, you're shrinking and you're losing. People want to go see their friends, their influencers, their content creators on Twitter. It's a brand they recognize. People are reluctant to go to TikTok, but they're going to it anyway because enough people are going there. It took TikTok, no joke, it took them 6 years to build up enough trust to do that. You really want to do that with X? Do you want to go ahead and exchange money through X? Do you really want to go ahead and purchase, you know, a frickin' 12-sided great plushie through X? X is not growing, and it's not going to grow for a while. And all the moves and everything surrounding this sort of thing is just beyond stupid. And heck, they had to go ahead and beg Apple to allow them to have a single character name in the App Store, because the App Store only allows you to have a minimum of 3 characters. But they had to do that for X. Also, what is this slogan for the social media app formerly known as Twitter? What is blaze your glory? That's the slogan under X on the iOS page. You know, going back to that concept of it being a porn site, you know, blaze your glory somehow fits. Just when you thought it couldn't get dumber. Just when you thought this couldn't get dumber. Just keeps getting worse. Of course, TweetDeck, the well-known platform for using Twitter for social media experts, has now had to rename itself to X Pro. That's probably going to run into all kinds of problems there. And here's one that is still being looked into, but is rather concerning. You know how one of the benefits of Twitter Blue, of paying that $8 a month to then be pointed at, laughed at, is that you might be able to make ad revenue if enough people view your tweets, which, by the way, they won't. It turns out that the company that can't pay rent also isn't paying their Twitter Blue subscribers their earned ad revenue either. You know, just in case you thought Elon and his entire team was ever trustworthy, I just want to remind you, no, they are not. This is, in fact, very quickly becoming a dumpster fire. I actually am still waiting for so many legal problems to just kind of just keep piling on and this whole thing just kind of crumbling down on top of Elon. But man, he's managing to dodge all this nonsense, and just, it's like a train wreck. I have to be on there in order to keep up the whole social media thing, keep up the whole influencer thing. But man, they make it harder and harder to treat the platform formerly known as Twitter with any kind of respect, and the train just keeps crashing. I thought it was done. I thought the train crashed. I thought all the cars collapsed in on themselves and rammed into each other. But my God, it is still moving. It is still just, it keeps crumbling in on itself. But they did at least do one thing right. They did take one bit of advice from me that they should have taken a long time ago. All right. Twitter Blue subscribers, now known as X Blue subscribers, which, by the way, we're not calling it that. Twitter Blue subscribers now have the ability to do one thing that they should have been able to do from the get-go, because it was, quite frankly, the dumbest thing you could possibly do. You can now hide the check mark that you paid for. How long did it take you to realize this? What was one of the things I said before? That one of the biggest hurdles for influencers to go ahead and buy this subscription was the fact that you'd be marked forever as someone who paid for Twitter. You should be able to hide that check mark, because man, you will just now be just flamed by everyone, and all the clout you would have gained by buying Twitter would be lost. And then some. It would cause irreparable damage to your brand. Look at that. You can hide it. Guess what? I would still strongly recommend against paying for Twitter, because here's the thing. Twitter is owned by an active grenade known as Elon Musk. A guy who still has not fixed embedded tweets, by the way. If I try to schedule a tweet from my Spotify dashboard, it still posts immediately. It is still a problem. It still has not been fixed, and it should be fixed, and it still isn't. And it probably never will be, because the team that Elon has is... They're not up to the task. We'll just put it that way. All right. The team that's there is not ready for this. It would not surprise me at all if one day tons of people that went ahead, bought Twitter Blue, hid the check mark, all of a sudden one day they're all revealed, and then you're called out. And it could either be something that would be done as a choice, or it'd be something that would be done as an accident. Then again, with how stable this platform is and the active grenade known as Elon, it wouldn't be surprising at all if all of a sudden everyone showed up as verified, as like some sort of show of something or another, or something stupid, and then people are just falsely accused of paying for Twitter when they actually didn't, all because the active grenade known as Elon Musk just decided to do that for whatever reason, which is why Twitter just becomes less and less and less of a stable platform that seems fine to already be on. And someone in chat said it already happened. No. I don't mean that all the people who used to be verified, then weren't, suddenly became verified. I mean everyone suddenly showing up as verified. Every single person. Not a large chunk of people. Not this group or that group. No. It would not surprise me at all if just one day every single bloody user showed up as verified for Twitter, that Elon just like, yeah, okay, let's just do that. Why? Who knows? Would you be surprised if he did it? I wouldn't. Like, any stupid idea you can think of is on the table now with this guy. Because I cannot stress this enough, and I know I've said it enough already. This is the stupidest marketing decision I have ever seen done in my life. Period. Full stop. And it is stunning that people praise this guy as a business genius. By the by, if you were hoping for Threads from Facebook to take over Twitter, that ship kind of sailed. According to reports, the majority of the 100 million people who signed up for Threads have pretty much stopped using it. Cool. Brilliant. Well, at least the new alternative isn't like Facebook. But is there anyone else that's trying to make a Twitter competitor? Is there anyone else who could be doing that? Oh, there is someone else. There is another Twitter competitor out there, and they actually are trying to make themselves the every app too. It's TikTok. TikTok has begun rolling out text posts. I can't even. I just can't. I need to take a break. I can't deal with TikTok trying to go ahead and make a freaking Twitter. Who do I hate? I actually don't know. I actually don't know if I'm more okay with Twitter being Twitter, or X being Twitter, or TikTok being Twitter. Actually, no, I think I'd rather have X be Twitter. I had to think about that for a second, but no, actually having Elon at the helm of Twitter would be better than TikTok being at the helm of Twitter. Someone in chat said if TikTok's gonna be the next Twitter, Twitter, we're all gonna go be homies in a cabin in the woods. You know what? Honestly, I have liked the idea of just some days just trying to get an RV and just unplug from reality. Cabin in the woods, not the worst idea in the world. The only problem is that I'm hopelessly addicted to the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, which has a free trial up to level 70, including the award-winning expansion Stormblood with no restriction on playtime. I don't know how I'd be able to do that in the cabin in the woods. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, let's talk about the failed GPUs of NVIDIA.